Hey friends, King's Drummer here. On this video, I'm going to go through my Genesis CD bootleg collection, and I keep them in a real nice little box. And I'm going to go through the best of the box. And in the background, I'm going to have various songs from various Genesis bootlegs playing in the background. My apologies, this is a really long video. I got carried away talking about these things like I do in all my videos. So just make yourself comfortable. I'm sorry it's over 25 minutes, but like I said, make yourself comfortable. I'm playing Genesis in the background, and I'll take you through the history of Genesis Live through bootleg CDs. So, to the best of the box. Here we go, to the box. Okay, we're going to go for the best of the box here. Let's start with this one then, because this is not exactly bootleg material. This is official stuff, but it's worth looking at. It is the first box set, CD box of Genesis Live Archive, 1967 through 75. And what is great about this collection is it features live recording of The Lamb Lays Down on Broadway. So basically it chronicles some live material from the Peter Gabriel era. I believe there was 4 CDs of this. You can see 4 CDs. And some really cool older pictures of Genesis in the very, very beginning of their career. And it does come with booklets. The only complaint I have about the booklet is the binding. It comes apart real easy. I don't really care for the binding of this. But some great material in here. The early demos are on here, as well as a whole live performance of the Lamb on 2 CDs. Lamb Lays on Broadway is what I mean by the Lamb. And a little bit of controversy on this. Peter Gabriel went in and touched up some of his vocals during the live performance of Lamb Lays on Broadway. I think in the late 90s, and it was mixed into the 1974 recording. So a lot of fans complained about that because it was kind of obvious where he did it. Personally, I didn't even know. If I didn't read about it, I wouldn't have known about it. But nonetheless, a great live recording of the Lamb, and it's a great thing to have. I was really glad that they released this. So. The live archive, first live archive, and of course we have the second one right here, Genesis Archive number 2, covering the Phil Collins era. This one only had 3 CDs, which to a lot of fans seemed like a waste of material. I agree. I think they could have put out 4, but it's still a good collection. A lot of unreleased live tracks. Illegal Alien was on there, Entangled was on there, Duke's Travels and Duke's End was on there. Really nice version of You Have Your Own Special Way, which was recorded with a symphony orchestra, the Australian Symphony Orchestra, I believe. So, some great stuff on here. A nice package just before the remaster, almost years before the remasters came out. And really enjoy that. I know this is not bootleg material, but it's really good stuff, and really glad to have it. They even include some 12-inch singles, I believe, which one was Invisible Touch, and the other was Land of Confusion and Tonight, Tonight, Tonight. And as you can see, some live recordings, B-sides, and the work in progress of Mama, which was really, really interesting. It was just before he laid down the drum tracks while they were still writing the song Mama. So you get to hear some demo material of how Genesis writes. Real interesting. So, real good collection. Okay, and I want to get into a couple of videotapes I have here. This is Genesis from Czechoslovakia. So Czech TV in 1998, which would mean it was a Call All Stations tour. And a tour that unfortunately never came to the U.S. A little pity, because I wanted to see it, because I'm like one of the rare people that like that album. So it's too bad that they didn't make it here. And then, God, I wish I would stay focused. Genesis in 1980, from the Old Grey Whistle Test TV show. Basically, it showed live and concert footage of Duke. And on this tape also is Genesis in concert from 1976, which was the tour film made for the tour that supported Trick of the Tail, which featured Bill Bruford on drums. And Rock in the Park in Germany, 1998, which was the Calling All Stations era. I believe the last concert date for the Calling All Stations tour. So, some really cool old vintage stuff on VHS. Now, as you can see, these are just I'll show you the CDs that have labels. I've shown this in videos before. This is Perpetual Soundwave. It was made during the Abacab tour. And I like that photo of Phil Collins with the very lights shining on him. And in the back, list of songs, as you can see. I Got Sunshine. There's no such thing as a Genesis song called I Got Sunshine. They mean the beginning of the In the Cage song. But this is a real good live recording. A lot of tracks taken from Three Sides Live, of course, but a really good mix on here. The ones that don't appear on Three Sides Live would be Man on the Corner, No Reply at All, and Dance on a Volcano, and Los Endos. So, some really, really good live recordings. I really love the Abacab tour recordings. It was a great tour. I love that album, so real happy to have this one, Perpetual Soundwave. And the next one actually has a cover. Another CD I've shown, which is called Cinema Landscape. This is from the 73 tour. And this is basically just a soundtrack from Genesis Live, from Shepperton Studios, during the Peter Gabriel era. Even though look at that photo, isn't that cool? Really good selection of songs here for the early age era of Genesis. Sound quality is not as great. It almost sounds like a mono recording split into a 2-channel stereo, but still a very interesting CD. I love this cover right here. Some cool pictures on here. I bought this in the mid-90s. Really cool. So, Cinema Landscape. And I like that dollar bill, pound note. Right there with the Genesis, with this Gabriel picture on it. Really cool. So, really good bootleg. And real fun to have that. Okay, now the rest are just, like I said, burned from the internet. I'll show you ones I really like this one from the Invisible Touch era of the band, LA Forum, 1986. Has a great live recording of In the Cage, the In the Cage medley, where with the ending with the last song on the medley with Supper's Ready. This one is titled Fabulous Philly, but it's Genesis Live at Philadelphia in 1984. This was the Mama tour. A good In the Cage medley on this tour as well, and great version of Mama. Phil Collins sounds like he's losing his mind. He's just screaming it and really pushing his voice at the top of its very limit. Nothing really visual to look at here, but what this was there was a group called the Fade Project, and they put out a series of CDs of Genesis bootlegs. And this one basically was the Trick of the Tail tour, the entire show from Pittsburgh. And the whole show featured Bill Bruford on drums. And the full version of Dance on the Volcano was featured on this CD, as well as Lamb Stew, which was basically a medley of Lamb Lays on Broadway, Fly on a Windshield, and the Carpet Crawlers. Real good bootleg. Very good. This one was called Life After Dividing. It's a 2 CD set. The other one's floating around in the box somewhere. This is from the Calling All Stations era of the band, where they had a new lead singer by the name of Ray Wilson. Real good CD. And they also had another guitarist, and damn if I can remember his name. Ivan Draven, I believe is his name. I really have to look that up. But since they didn't have Daryl Sternberg anymore in the live band, they brought another guitarist. I really love the live version of There Must Be Some Other Way in Alien Afternoon. Alien Afternoon I didn't really care for on the Calling All Stations album, but the live version, really good. And There Must Be Some Other Way, really great song from Calling All Stations. Really good keyboard solo on that song from Tony Banks. So this is a real good bootleg. I love this. Ray Wilson doesn't sound so great singing some of the Phil Collins stuff like Domino and Mama. But he puts his heart into it. He does sound good on the Gabriel songs like Lamb Lays Out on Broadway and Dancing with the Moonlit Night. And I think he sings the opening part to Supper's Ready. Sounds really good on it. And here's a second CD to that bootleg set. Some songs are from Birmingham, some songs are from the Czech Republic, and great version of the Dividing Line in here. Just fantastic version of the Dividing Line. So I'm one of the rare people that actually like the Calling All Stations album. This one is, Derek showed his vinyl copy of this. It's not on vinyl. It's known as Live from the Mouth of the Monster, but for the people on the torrent site, it's just known as Burb 03, which is a series of Genesis bootlegs. And what they do is they remaster a lot of those old recordings. So this is kind of like a fan's attempt to remaster it on computer software. But it was Chicago at the Uptown Theater, 1978, during the and then there were 3 tours. The first tour to feature Daryl Sternberg as a guitarist in the band. And what is great about this bootleg is it does feature Phil Collins singing the version of Dancing with the Moonlit Night. And it's a great bootleg, great energy there on that performance. And of course we have Genesis at Nebworth in 1978. A big show. What's cool about that one, I do believe this one featured a version of Inside and Out, the Steve Hackett song that appeared on Spot the Pigeon. Actually, no, that was in 1977. So this one did feature the Fountain of Salmacis. That's what this bootleg featured. And Genesis Nebworth 1978. I don't have an exact date on here, I don't believe. No, I don't. But real interesting bootleg there. Let's see, this is going the Phil Collins era. My favorite album from his was No Jacket Required. This was the entire show from the No Jacket Required tour, put on 2 CDs. From Sydney, Australia, Melbourne, Australia, excuse me. Date on that one was April 13th, 1985. And it contains the entire show. Real good bootleg. It's from it's a soundboard recording. And it's a real good sound quality on this one. A real good show. And not too many No Jacket Required tour bootlegs out there from Phil. So this is like the best one. So I'm real glad I have a copy of it. The one time Peter Gabriel reunited with Genesis was in Milton Keynes. Or Keynes, I can't remember the name of it, but the name of that bootleg was called Six of the Best. And the Fade Project actually did a remix of that original bootleg and tried to in an attempt to improve the sound quality. And that's what this bootleg is right here. It's like a remaster of Six of the Best, and they did wake up the sound quite a bit. Like Derek said, it's audience recorded, so you hear. So at points the audience is louder than the band, but what they did with this remaster is I guess they kind of beefed up the bass signal. They made it a little bit more boomy and cleared out some of the highs. So they really did improve on the sound. So real glad to have that one. And let's see which one this is. This is another copy of Six of the Best. Let me go to these over here. because these are pretty interesting. This is actually a DVD. I don't know what's doing in my CD box, but this is a DVD of the tribute band called The Musical Box, as they perform the Lamb Lays on Broadway show. They use the original slides from the 1974 tour, and it's a pretty good reproduction of the show. So this was the Lamb Lays Down on Broadway show. They're going to be in my area next month. I'm thinking about going since I've been on this Genesis kick lately. And also another CD of theirs, same band, but this time they're performing music from Foxtrot and Nursery Crime, and that's their set list. And they do a really good job reproducing the Genesis show, from all the costumes, the stage settings. Everyone's dressed in white, all the instruments are in white, really good stuff. This is an interesting bootleg. This is called Genesis All the Help I Can Get. It's the Milton Keynes reunion rehearsals at the Hammersmith Odeum in London, England, September 29th, 1982. And this is Genesis just trying to rehearse for that brief reunion they had with Peter Gabriel I told you about. So this is just a bootleg of all the rehearsals. How many times they went through Salisbury Hill. And a lot of these times you hear Peter Gabriel just struggling to remember the lyrics. And a lot of bum notes being heard. A lot of guys going into the wrong section. Real interesting listen. I mean, only enjoyable if you're a crazy hardcore fan like I am. So, even got rehearsal footage. Really cool. This one's not bad. This is another group. This one's called Gasp. This was their 18th release of another group of fans that like to remaster some older recordings. This is from the Lamb Lays Down on Broadway tour, December 16th, 1974, Maple Leaf Gardens in Toronto, Ontario, Canada, basically. And it's basically the whole Lamb Lays Down on Broadway show. These are soundboard recordings, and they're remastered, and they sound really, really good. It's been a while since I listened to this, and a real good recording. And they do a great job restoring the audio of some of these bootlegs. It's amazing. I have a Mike and Mechanics bootleg as well from the Living Years tour, Tower Theater, Philadelphia. No one's really sure on the date on this, so I just printed both of them. And actually, I was surprised. I'm not that big of a Mike Mechanics fan, but I was surprised how much I enjoyed this. I really love the song Don't, and Nobody's Perfect. Silent Running has always been a cool song, so they really do sound good live, so that's an enjoyable bootleg. I dig that one. And of course, here's another one. Genesis Live from the Mouth of the Monster CD2. They remixed it, and I thought the first one sounded better, but it wasn't that much of an upgrade, but not bad. Okay, and this one's from the Trick of the Tail tour, June 10th, 1976, Hammersmith Odeum, London. This is a soundboard recording. This one sounds fantastic. Whole show on 2 CDs, and of course it features Bill Bruford as the drummer, and great live performance. So I got 2 CD bootlegs from that tour. Good stuff. Another Mike and the Mechanics bootleg from the same year, 89. Pretty much the same selection of songs. This is a soundboard recording as well. Really nice to have that one. And this was another rehearsal CD. Showco rehearsals for the Then There Were 3 tour from 1978. And I really love listening to the Supper's Ready part of this. And they really go for it in their rehearsals. There's also a rehearsal. This is a 2 CD set. And there's a rehearsal for Down and Out right here, song number 8. And it sounds killer. I mean, there's some bum notes and Collins singing out of key, but they sound really good on this. It was the one song, Genesis song, that gave the drummer Chester Thompson a headache. I think they eventually dropped it in the set, so they didn't keep that song for long. But this is a recording of the rehearsals for that tour. And you can hear the guys kind of screwing around and joking around and cussing in between songs. Real fun to listen to that. And Genesis Live at the Roxy, 1973. Real fun bootleg to have. The only thing that pisses me off about this bootleg is they cut Supper's Ready in half. Just when it's about to get to the Apocalypse and 9/8 part, it cuts off. And, that drove me crazy. But a great sounding bootleg. I believe it's a soundboard recording. It sounds fantastic. So some good stuff from 1973. This is that same Phil Collins bootleg I showed you from Australia. Only thing is, this is recorded in DTS 5.1 audio, the whole show. Well, actually, no, I take it back. This is not Australia. This is from Dallas, Texas. So this is a show from Dallas, Texas that was actually an official live recording he released on VHS. I actually have a copy of that tape as well. So, and this is the whole concert that appeared on the videotape in surround sound. And we're almost to the end here. Another bootleg from the Invisible Touch Tour in New York, Madison Square Garden, September 30th, 1986. Pretty much the same exact set list as the last one I showed you from Los Angeles, but a real good, spirited version of In the Cage. It sounds fantastic, and the crowd really sounds into it. So, big time show. And last, the Abacab tour from Frankfurt, Germany, 1981, October 30th. I love the version of Lamb Liaison on Broadway here. Really fantastic. And all the songs that were from the Abacab album are on here. Good version of Firth of Fit on this bootleg. I put it in one of my videos before. Fantastic version of that song. And here's the other part of it. They do a great version of Los Endos and Dance on Volcano during that tour. And of course they end the show with I Know What I Like. Really good show. I want to dig for one other special bootleg in here. Sorry. This will probably make Derek and Jeff real happy. I got this in a trade. And there are just a bunch of CDs called, the whole thing is called Peter Gabriel Rarities. Rare recordings and live recordings of Peter Gabriel on 3 CDs. So stuff he did from the Last Temptation of Christ, some live clips from the Amnesty International tour, and various other songs. I think I have a cover of Peter Gabriel singing Strawberry Fields, really nice. So occasionally I listen. I don't listen to this a lot, but occasionally. It's a great set to have. I got that in a trade. Good stuff. I'm trying to find... There it is. During the Three Sides Live tour, which is known as the Encore Tour, Genesis decided on a special night to play at the Marquee Club in London. And the date on that one was September 27th, 1982. And during the, well, basically you can call it the Three Sides Live tour. And this is from the group that did this was Burp 27. This is their 27th release. And this was audience recorded. A very small club in London, Marquee Club. And what was great about this bootleg is it was the last time Genesis sang Supper's Ready in its entirety in front of an audience. So it was the last tour they did that song on. And it's on this, and it's like, even though it's an audience recording, it is such a cool recording because it's done in a small club. And I'm telling you folks, that was a great show, and it sounds like you're there. You can hear the drums are really loud and powerful and boomy, and you can hear some of the audience comments. Great stuff. So I wanted to show that one. Bunch of other bootlegs as well in here from various tours. This one was Colonial Stations, a lot of radio shows and interviews, and the world premiere acoustic show from Cape Canaveral. Good stuff. So you can see there's a lot of bootlegs in here over different, almost every tour is represented on here. And this was the Felt Forum in '73. As you can see, just, you know, this is my bootleg collection, and this is the one I think sounds the best. And I wish I had some cover art for it. This is not too interesting to look for, but this is called Musica, and it's from the Duke tour. The Lyceum Ballroom, I think it was called, off the Duke tour in May of 1980. 2 CD set, and Genesis is really smoking on this CD set. I have a DVD bootleg of it as well, and this is a real old one from a friend. This is from Genesis, Watford Tech College, June 28th, 1972. And like I said, probably one of the best early sounding Genesis bootlegs available. This is from a friend I made online many years ago. And what's funny about this one, it featured the one-handed drum solo from Phil Collins. Inside joke that the band would do every time equipment broke down. They would just go into a one-handed drum solo just to kill time. Alright folks, well that is the box of bootlegs. Hope you liked that. And it's been a lot of fun posting these Genesis videos. And I'll see you at the next video.